I'm going to show you how easy it is to make L. Reuteri yogurt, and also I'm going to tell you about it, why it's so good for you, why you should be including it in your daily diet. So L. Reuteri yogurt is an absolute powerhouse of anti-aging, gut health, improving your sleep. There, I'm going to give you the key benefits. It's really, really good for you. And I realised I hadn't been in the kitchen and made any videos here for a while, and also that I needed some more yogurt, so I thought it was a good opportunity to combine all of those factors. So it's very, very simple, and as I'm making it, I'm going to talk you through what I'm doing, how easy it is, and really why you need this. For those of you who haven't met me before, my name's Emma Voysey and I'm a health coach, and my channel is dedicated to, first of all, showing you the transformation that I went through myself to go from a post-50-year-old, post-menopausal, overweight by about 20 pounds or so, terrible issues, problems with my gut, which I'd spent over a decade trying to resolve, and just wasn't getting any further, wasn't finding the answers. Joint pains just developing everywhere, all kinds of other niggly little issues, brain fog, not remembering my words to finish a sentence. That is so frustrating. Walking into another room and forgetting why I'd gone in there. And feeling pretty crummy and crappy about it all, to the person I am today, where I've reversed all of the conditions, that all the things were wrong with me, just through diet and changes to my lifestyle, changing my diet, eating whole foods, moving correctly, and feeling super happy and the best I've felt in decades. And I'm sharing that journey with you. I'm sharing the things I did, the rabbit holes I went down and the hoops I jumped through, but eventually found the answers. And I'm sharing that with you so that if any of those symptoms sound like anything that you might be going through, join me and see what I did and transform your own health, because my goal is to empower people to realize that it's in our control to figure out what is wrong with our bodies and fix it, because so many things we can fix. So many diseases of the body are caused by the things that we're doing, inadvertently doing to ourselves when we don't need to. We can do better things and heal ourselves, and just empowering people with the knowledge of how to do that and how I did that. Because, you know, you live in that body, you live there, it's your body, it's your temple. Start treating it like a temple and less like a student squat, and you'll find that you'll get on a whole lot better. You don't need, in many cases, you don't need the answers from the medical profession, because you can do it yourself. And that's what my channel is all about, is empowering you with that knowledge. Why you need this amazing stuff. So first off, why? What L. Reuteri yogurt? I'm going to use some I made earlier as my starter culture, but you can also buy a starter culture. You can buy one. This one I bought from a seller on Amazon. This one's actually L. salivarius and L. Reuteri, but you know there are many different starter cultures, but it's not technically a yogurt, so you'll never be able to buy this one in a shop, because a yogurt, to be called yogurt, it has to have seven or so strains of actual different bacteria in its composition. And this one only has one, or in that case, if you use that one, it has two, because it has salivarius as well. Why L. Reuteri? What's it good for? So it boosts collagen and it's anti-aging. It stimulates oxytocin production. This little yogurt, this little combination of milk and the right friendly bacteria, it stimulates oxytocin, which is the love hormone, which has been linked to skin elasticity, collagen production, and a youthful glow, and actually decreasing wrinkles. So regular consumers of this yogurt, who I was introduced to this yogurt by Dr. William Davis, who wrote Supergut, And I was following his protocol a couple of years ago in an attempt to heal my gut. And this particular microbe is missing from many people's guts because it's so easily destroyed when you take antibiotics, and most people have taken antibiotics at some point in their lives. So we're lacking all kinds of microbes that used to be there. Well, you should have been there originally, but now our guts get so compromised by all the lifestyle factors that we throw at it. I'm not going to make all of this quantity of milk. I've got here some organic Jersey milk, which from Jersey cows, but it's French. Pasteurised in a bain-marie, it tells me, so it's very lightly pasteurised. And this one is, A2 milk, which is also pasteurised and not organic either. But we won't worry about that for a minute. Let me just grab a big spoon. So it also reduces inflammation, and that's going to slow down sagging skin and the production of wrinkles. But it also, like Dr. Davis's group, he has a website called Infinite Health, and you can follow him. He's an amazing guy. He's written several books. He wrote a lot about the adverse effects of gluten as well. So he's very, very knowledgeable. And he also hasn't had, noticeable effects of anti-aging are, your wrinkles decreasing, which we all have to celebrate, right? Everybody wants reduced wrinkles, so that's always something to look forward to as well. Restoring your gut health, it helps increase your good gut bacteria, and it's going to crowd out harmful pathogens. It increases, as I said already, the production of oxytocin, this amazing love hormone, which is also going to improve your libido. And it supports digestive balance, and it reduces bloating, IBS symptoms, leaky gut. It's going to help heal all those things. And you won't find it in a commercial yogurt. It's just not going to be there. It's not used in commercial yogurt making. It can also improve sleep and mood. It improves melatonin production, leading to deeper, more restful sleep. And it can actually give you vivid dreams. So some people, when their guts are really compromised, will report that they just don't dream anymore. Well, I tell you, since I've been restoring my gut flora, my dreams have got very vivid, and they are very, very much there every night. So I'm just going to put a couple of tablespoons of plain milk into there. It's just a clean stainless steel bowl. I'm going to put a sprinkle so that it doesn't clump. This is called inulin powder. This is inulin of chicory, and this is what feeds the bacteria in this yogurt when we ferment it for a much longer time than commercial yogurts are ever fermented for. Commercial yogurts are fermented for, well, they have to be fermented for 3 or 4 hours to be able to be called yogurt. I want 2 tablespoons, so I've put like 3 heaped dessert spoons in there. Doesn't matter if there's a bit extra, let's put a bit more. Make sure there's plenty, because this is the food that's going to feed the bacteria when we go for this longer fermentation time. We're going to ferment it way longer than yogurts are normally fermented for, because every 4 hours, the quantity of bacteria in your yogurt is going to double. So if you've produced by 4 hours, you've produced, say, I don't know, a billion bacteria, and then you double and double and double. But at the end of 36 hours, you should have, billions and billions. It just increases exponentially the amount of bacteria in the yogurt just by fermenting it for a much longer time. So that's my inulin powder and a couple of tablespoons of milk. And I'm going to add a couple of good, actually let me use this jar, a couple of good spoonfuls, probably like, these are my jars that I make my yogurt in. It's sufficient to just use sometimes your yogurts separate and you end up with this thin liquid. This is if you make them yourself. And obviously, if you're starting from scratch, you're just going to, at this point, add your little sachet of culture straight into that mix there. But because I've made it already, and because subsequent batches improve, it gets thicker and creamier and less watery. This was a batch from a starter culture, so it's, so you can see it doesn't. You don't have. You can eat that; it's perfectly good for you. It doesn't matter, but it doesn't make for such a lovely yogurt as when it thickens up. So I'm using mainly the thin stuff that I've strained off that thicker yogurt, and the same with this one. Because it's all full of the bacteria, it will all work as a starter culture. And that's the lovely thing. You buy the starter culture once, and then you don't have to buy it again. If you just keep the yogurts going and keep them, and they keep for, you don't have to worry about a shelf life either. These things keep for months in the fridge and they don't change. They just stay exactly as they are, which kind of makes shelf life another thing which is slightly ridiculous. All foods have to be given a best before date or an eat by date, but a lot of the time it's nothing to do with the quality of the food. It's just it has to be put on there by the manufacturer to stay within the letter of the law. So if you can just see that it's not clumpy because I sprinkled the inulin powder on the top. It's inulin of chicory. You can buy this on in health food stores and on Amazon. Can you see that? This one's in Spanish, so it's inulina de cicoria. Or I've probably pronounced that horribly wrong. Sorry about that to all the Spanish people out there, offending your ears. My milk managed to splash absolutely everywhere. And I'm going to use a combination of whole milk. I've got my really creamy Jersey milk, and I'm going to add some cream to it as well, so it's a really thick yogurt, more like a Greek yogurt consistency. And just use the quantity of milk that you need to fill up whatever vessel you're cooking it in. If you're cooking it in a like a sous vide and you've got a big glass bowl and you're going to just put that in, make the quantity you've got. So I need the quantity to fill up this many jars, which I'm very much somebody who likes to guess quantities. So I'm just going to put a good old slug of this cream in there. That's just double cream. Makes it thick and delicious and so nice. I've probably done too much now. Give that a little stir, blend it all together, and that's it. That is pretty much it for the yogurt. But let me carry on telling you about all the good stuff. That's all for the preparation. We're going to pour that into the jars in a moment. So this also supports metabolic health. It supports weight loss. It enhances insulin sensitivity, which helps to burn your fat more efficiently. It reduces stomach fat. It reduces the hunger hormone, which is ghrelin, which is that hormone with a funny name, which my phone always autocorrects to gherkin, which makes it easier to control cravings. So brilliant if you are trying to lose weight or just trying not to eat crappy foods and you're just trying to stay off the carrot cake and the croissant. It accelerates healing. It actually increases immune response and accelerates healing as well. It increases muscle mass and helps you lay down more bone mass. And bone density can be increased at any stage of your life. So if you are worried about brittle bones, getting older, you've heard that old people suffer from terrible, they can get osteoporosis and suffer from brittle bone disease. Keep eating the foods that lay down bone mass, and that's particularly animal protein and things like this, because you can improve your bone mass at any age. You don't have to just be left thinking, oh well, I've got weak bones and therefore everything's going to start breaking, and if I fall over I'm going to break a hip or whatever. Increase your bone mass by eating the right foods, as well as by weight-bearing exercise, which will also increase your bone mass, and that can happen at any age. So what else does it do? It amplifies, as I said, the immune response, and enhances white blood cell function. This is all coming from this yogurt, and that makes you more resistant to infection, and it produces anti-inflammatory compounds which will reduce chronic disease risk. And you are going to end up with this yogurt, which is going to have in every cup approximately, and this bowl is supposed to pour, but in my experience it is often, it does actually pour today. I'm just going to almost fill up each of my jars. 300 billion in a half cup serving of this bacteria, approximately. 300 billion. When you think about if you were to take this as a supplement, if you're just taking a probiotic and it was an L. Reuteri probiotic, you wouldn't get 300 billion in each serving. No way, Jose. So this is giving you a far more amplified, like powered up version of this amazing microbe. I think I've gone under what I need. I really should measure stuff. I think I need. I've gone slightly under on milk, but it doesn't matter because I can just use my plain milk to top up each jar. Just make sure they're all approximately the same, and they pretty much are. Let's just put a bit back into there. Right, that's it. That is how easy it is to make yogurt. Now, I bought this yogurt maker from Amazon. It's made by Severin. It's a German yogurt maker. And I bought it because it was the one that I've tried a few. This one has a temperature gauge on it. Some of them don't. Some of them don't give you a temperature, no choice. And you need, when you're doing specific bacterias of yogurts, you need to ferment them at specific temperatures. It's no good just like sticking it in and hoping for the best, because this one needs to ferment around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is around 40 degrees. You've got a little bit of leeway, but that's the ideal temperature for this to do its thing. So I know from previous experience, and because I also measure it with a temperature, this is one by Weber. I also bought this off Amazon. I can do Fahrenheit or centigrade on here. It's actually a meat thermometer, this one, which is going to decide today that is the day it's just not going to work for me anymore. Right, okay, maybe it needs a new battery. Normally, I can test this intermittently, and I do. I take the lid off and I stick it in, and I can adjust the temperature, but I can set the temperature on here and I go a little bit underneath what it gives me. So I sort of put it around 39 degrees centigrade. Why are you deciding not to work for me today? Did I drop you on the floor and break you? Anything's possible. So the longer fermentation time, this prolonged fermentation, is supported by the addition of this inulin powder to the slurry that we made at the beginning, because this feeds the microbes. Because if you continue to ferment just milk and a yogurt culture way beyond, like, say 10 or 12 hours, it's going to run out of food. And then those microbes are just going to start eating each other. And then they're eating each other, they're dying, they're pooing. You don't want all that in your yogurt. So 36 hours has been deemed by Dr. William Davis to be the ideal time. And I'm going to just put a drop more milk in each of those, and then a drop more cream. But you do need to, in order to have the extended fermentation, you need to give them a bit more food. So that's where the inulin powder comes in. That gives them the extra sustenance to go on and keep producing and keep doubling up to that 300 billion per half cup serving, which we're aiming for. So that is about it on what we did to. Oh, I'm going to put a little bit more cream in just for belt and braces, as my dad would say. And my son-in-law Miles would say that is what he calls an John A expression, because these funny old expressions we use, which if you don't know what they mean, you have no idea. So belt and braces means, you know, if you wore a belt and you wore braces. And of course, for Americans, braces, they call them suspenders. So that doesn't even make sense. So belt and braces, I'm adding a little bit extra cream and really topping them up so they're going to be really creamy and delicious. And I'm going to come back to you at the end of 36 hours, before I edit this video and publish it. I'm going to do another little clip at the end and show you how that yogurt turns out. It will turn out something like these guys. But as I said, this was a first batch from a starter culture, and it's always it always separates a bit, first batch. But as you go on, it's, for some reason, that doesn't happen anymore. So it's such a nice yogurt. It's quite zingy, the flavour of it, but really nice, really creamy and nice. But these are going to be even creamier. So I'm going to pop the lids on those. So you need whole milk. Never use half fat milk. Never use it anyway because it's full of sugar. They take the fat away, which means the sugar increases. Sugar in milk is called lactose. And the reason that skimmed milk is the worst kind of milk of all for dieting. Funny that, isn't it? Because everybody thinks that by eating low-fat milks, they're going to be able to diet more easily. They take the fat away and it's replaced with more of the milk. And the milk is where the sugar is. There's less sugar in the cream. And it's the sugar that will make us put weight on. It will be stored as fat if we don't use it for energy. So I'm one lid short. Have I got one more in my drawer over here? There we go. So especially if you're trying to lose weight, go for whole milk. But you want whole milk, and if you want it extra thick and creamy, whole milk and cream. You can even make it from single cream, as we call it in the UK, or half and half, as the Americans call it. And I know how it's all about half and half, because when I was a waitress in an Irish restaurant and bar in Old Town, Virginia, back in 1989, I used to say half and half to the bartender, and he thought that was hilarious because of my English accent. So he always used to take the mickey out of me and say half and half, because we used it in cocktails and drink making. Half and half. So if you use half and half or single cream, you don't need milk at all. You can just use cream. It makes it even more delicious. And the lid just goes on like that. You set your yogurt maker. This one only goes up to 24 hours. So I'll set it for 24 and then I'll add another 12 on when I get to the end of 24 hours, which will be at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And then 12 hours after that, it'll be ready. And then I will show you how it's turned out. So you literally need that starter culture. You need your whole milk or your cream or a mixture of. You don't have to heat your milk first because it's pasteurized. It used to be thought that you always had to bring it up to the boil and let it cool down. That's an unnecessary step. You just don't need to bother. Your yogurt maker or your sous vide, or some people make yogurts they just turn the oven on and then turn it off again. But this one has to be made at 40 degrees or 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So I think a yogurt maker makes a better job. I have done it where it's got too hot. It kills the bacteria, and you've got to start all over again because you've just ended up with dead microbes, which are no good to anyone. Okay, so we incubate it. When we're incubating, it has to be covered because there's molds and funguses floating around in the air, which we don't want into our yogurts. We don't want them competing in the yogurts with the bacteria that we're trying to promote. We've either stirred in you can either crush the tablets up if you're using something like the BioGaia gastrus tablets, which is one option as a starter. This starter was really easy because it was just a little sachet. I'll put a link down below also to BioGaia gastrus tablets, which I have used those before to start it. And you just simply make the little slurry with the inulin powder and a couple of tablespoons of milk or cream. Add your starter in, which in my case today was just some yogurt. Here's some I prepared earlier. Mix it up, add the milk, add the quantity of milk, pour it into the thing, and Bob's your mother's brother. There's another expression for you, Miles. So remember, your first batch might separate. Don't worry about it. It doesn't mean it's gone off or there's anything wrong with it. Your second and subsequent batches should be creamier and thicker. You won't find this in a commercial yogurt because it's not used in commercial yogurts. It's not technically a yogurt because it only has one strain of bacteria in it, but it's super good for you. It has all those benefits I previously talked about. It's rich and thick. After 4 hours, the bacterial amounts double, and then they double and they double and they keep going in that compounding effect, which brings it up to that amazing, massive 300 billion or so. I mean, who's counting? Does it matter if it was only 200 billion of supercharged, amazing, powerful yogurt, which your gut will love you for? And it's going to restore that microbe to your gut, as it has done to mine, because I've been eating it for like 2 years now. Thanks for watching, and I will be back to you for the end, just to finish off and show you how that turns out. So 36 hours have passed. In fact, it's more than 36 hours because it finished in the night. And I'm just going to show you what the yogurt, the L. Reuteri yogurt, looks like. So it's very thick. Hopefully you can see that. Very creamy. There's a little bit of liquid there, but hardly any. And if I just take that out like that, look how beautifully thick and creamy that is. It's really set nicely, and there really isn't. There's no separation. You can probably see in the jar there, it's thick all the way through. Oh, it tastes so delicious. It's so creamy with a little bit of a zing to it, which I really like. Delicious. The difficulty I have is only eating half to 1 cup a day and not more. I just wanted to read to you this little bit from Dr. William Davis' book, Super Gut, if you're interested in fermentation and healing your gut through eating fermented foods like yogurt, like kefir, and how to make those things as well, and so much more. This book is an absolute Bible of information. And what Dr. Williams says is, whereas, which I said in the first part of this video, whereas commercial yogurt is fermented for about 4 hours, we ferment ours for 36 hours, a time difference that makes 1,000-fold difference in benefit. Likewise, most commercial probiotics contain bacterial counts of only a few billion of each species, and often the least costly strains are used rather than the most effective. And he goes on to say we add the prebiotic fibre, which was the inulin powder, to the fermentation process, which is like adding fertiliser to your garden to grow bigger, more luscious tomatoes. Adding prebiotic fibres that nourish microbes to a fermentation project helps push bacterial counts even higher. And in yoghurt, it increases the thickness and the richness of the final product. So not only can you obtain maximum magnificent benefits from these fermentation projects, but you get to enjoy delicious yogurts and other fermented foods that are nutritious and easy to fit into your daily routine. So it's a win-win-win. So that's it, 36-hour fermentation of L. Reuteri, or Reuteri, I'm not sure how you would pronounce that, which has all those benefits I talked about in the first part of the video: better sleep, less wrinkles, increases oxytocin, increases muscle mass. It's just like multitude of benefits. And remember, when you make your next batch, you simply don't eat all of it, keep a cup, like a third of a pot, that's sufficient. I mean, that was all I used. If you want to, you can just drain off the liquid. There's not very much in this batch, but just save the liquid and use that as the starter for your next batch. And I bought a spare set of jars for my yogurt maker so that I could have one lot in the fridge, which I'm eating, and the next lot making, so that I've always got some and I never run out. And so that you always get my videos and you never miss one, please remember to subscribe and give me a like, and I will see you hopefully on my very next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.